So the author, after mentioning his definition, then he starts talking about what was the cause, the reason why the pagan disbelievers fell into Ash-Shirk billahi and al-Kufr. So he says, in some detail, how the Mushrikeen fell into Kufr. He said the Mushriks did not fall into Shirk with Allah. They didn't fall into Kufr, except because أنهم توكلوا على غير الله عز وجل, because they put their trust in other than Allah عز وجل. Yani the reason why they fell into Shirk and Kufr is because they put their trust in other than Allah. وَوَكَّلُوا أُمُورُهُمْ إِلَى غَيْرِ اللَّهِ, and then they delegated their affairs to other than Allah. And they turned their affairs over to other than Allah. وَاعْتَقِدُوا أَنَّ غَيْرُ اللَّهِ يَقْضِي حَوَاجِهُمْ, and then they believed, yani their i'tiqad, they believed in their heart that other than Allah can fulfill their needs, and that something or someone other than Allah can grant them relief from their worries, and that other than Allah can repulse from them harm. Yani they trusted in other than Allah, they delegated their affairs to other than Allah, and they believed that these things other than Allah were capable, were able to fulfill their needs, to repulse harm, to relieve them of their worries. They believed that. And when they believed that, he said, فَاعْتَمِدُوا, then they relied upon those things, the idols and the graven images and trees and stones and graves and tombs and dead people. Then they relied upon them. Yani their reliance upon them was due to what? Their first tawakkul. Yani they trusted and they delegated and they believed that these things had some ability to benefit or to harm them. So then, yani they depended upon them. They depended upon these idols and these things that they worshipped other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he says they depended upon the created beings fi ma la yaqdiru alayhi illallah. And they depended upon them in matters or in affairs that nobody has the ability to do except Allah. Yani there are some things that a human being, that created beings can perhaps assist you with, because the human being has the ability to do that. Yani you ask somebody to go to the store and buy you some food, they can do that. That's possible. So that is not what we're talking about. We're talking about depending upon other than Allah in that which only Allah has the ability to do. So once they did that, once they trusted and depended and relied upon the created beings to do that which only Allah has the ability to do, فَصَارُوا يَسْتَغِيثُونَ بِهِمْ, then they began to call out to them and to implore them and to beg them, yani to help them, to save them from difficulties. And they began to, yani in order to please them, make sacrifices to them. And they began to make yani vows or pledges to them, because they felt that these created things had some ability to benefit or harm them, and therefore they started to what? Offer different types of worship to them. And this was because they depended upon them instead of Allah. And then the Shaykh, he closes this paragraph by saying, فَجَعَلَ عَلَّامَةِ الْإِيمَانِ وَعَلَامَةِ التَّوْحِيدِ التَّوَكُّلُ عَلَى اللَّهِ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here has made the alama. The alama means the sign of something, yani the indication of something. The indication of Iman and the indication of at-Tawheed is in putting one's trust in Allah alone. Yani previously he said that he made shart al-iman at-tawakkul ala Allah. That the condition for the validity of iman is that a person puts their trust in Allah alone. Here he's saying that likewise, the sign that indicates a person has iman and that a person has tawheed is that they put their trust in Allah alone. And therefore we can understand from this is my words, we can understand from this that when a person looks at their own self, and they find that they are actually putting their trust in something other than Allah, this is dangerous. Because putting your trust in Allah alone is a sign that you have Iman. It's a sign that you have Tawheed. Putting your trust in other than Allah is a sign that your Iman is defective, that your Tawheed is defective. This is something that a believer has to be worried about. Then the Shaykh, he says, so as far as the person who claims, the Shaykh used the word za'ama, the person who claims that he is a mu'min, and he claims that he is a muwahid, that he's from the people of Tawheed. However, even though he claims that, he puts his trust in other than Allah. He puts his trust in stones and trees and idols and graves and dead people and other than that. فَإِنَّ دَعْوَهُ كَاذِبَةٌ. Then this person's claim is a lie. It is false. وَهُوَ لَيْسَ بِمُؤْمِنٍ. And he is not a believer. And he is not a believer. And that is because he has put his trust in other than Allah in his affairs, other than Allah Azza wa Jalla. So again, this is also important. The Shaykh is saying categorically that the person who claims to be a mu'min, claims to be a muwahid, but he puts his trust in other than Allah, or she puts her trust in other than Allah, then this person's claim is a lie. It is false, and the person is not a believer because they have put their trust in other than Allah. And the sign, the validity of a person's iman and tawheed is putting your trust in Allah alone.